Okay, guys, happy Sunday night. I am super excited. We have Christy Christensen on with us tonight. She's an ambassador diamond, and I just love her. She's such an inspiration, and she is a busy mama like a lot of us on here. So I just wanted her to come on. I did that poll in the team page asking what some of the things you guys were needing. Help signing distributors were one of the things, help signing loyal customers, and then I'll have to go back and look what the other one was. But you guys, this lady has amazing tips, and I'm super excited for her to share. Christy, if you'll just share a little bit of your story with us, what kind of brought you into It Works, maybe what attracted you to it, since, people are looking at how to sign distributors. I always think, well, how was I attracted to it? So maybe a little bit of that in your timeline of how you promoted in the business, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. All right. Hi, guys. I am Christy Christensen. So I actually just hit my 5-year mark in the business, which sounds crazy because it feels like I've always been in it, but I've never been in it. Like, it's just crazy. But I was actually a cosmetologist, and I was just newly married. So I had just moved to a new state. So I know sometimes that's a reason why people will tell you, hey, I can't get started. Like, I don't know anybody. So I always tell people, like, you know what? That was me too. And that's why it's such a beautiful business, because you can use social media. So use part of your story when you're talking to people. I remember, sorry, I'll just kind of jump around with the tips or else I'll forget them later. But I remember when I was, just starting out, I would watch all of these triples, presidentials, ambassadors, and I'm like, but they have such a good story. I don't have a story, And then I realized, like, holy crap, I do have a story. I just haven't been thinking about it, And so when I started, we were actually on Medicaid and food stamps. For some reason, until I saw somebody else talk about that, I never thought about talking about that because I didn't feel like I was depressed, I guess you could say. We were on something, but I was like, well, I don't want to be on it forever, And then I realized, like, there's a lot of people on Medicaid and food stamps that without a business like this, they'll never be able to get off it. So really kind of break down your timeline of your story, because that is what attracts distributors so much. That is seriously what attracts distributors. I post my story in about 5,000 different ways every single month, and that's what attracts them, different parts of it. So when I started, I wanted to start having kids. There was all these cute little babies in church, and my husband was like, we cannot even afford, we can't even afford that. Like, we were paycheck to paycheck. So he was actually in school full time and working. And then I was new in the salon. So, when you're a hairdresser, you have to build up that clientele, and it can take years. And I'm like, this is not like what I expected, first of all, my first year of marriage, my first year of my career to be like. So it's funny because I believe that nothing happens on accident. It all happens for a reason. So I started in my salon, and probably a month later, a girl that was working in the salon with me, I didn't even know her. She just said, hey, she actually came in with her upline, and they showed us this diamond chart and said, hey, do you want to make a $10,000 bonus in 3 months? And I was like, of course I do. Duh, of course I want to make money. And so I don't know why I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just took it home. I showed my husband, and he was like, oh, is it network marketing? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like, you guys, if there's anybody who I didn't have any previous job experience. Like, I literally went to cosmetology school right after high school. The only place I worked was Domino's. So people will say, well, I don't know how to do that. I can't be as good as you, things like that. You guys, like, literally, I had to learn everything from, my brain to literally social media to everything. So I showed my husband, and he was like, okay, you should try it. Like, for $100, like, you can't go wrong with that. And I'm like, okay. So I started, and my enroller, I was added to a team page, which I say was my saving grace, because my enroller quit pretty soon after I started, which was silly if you think about it now, but I'm like, sucks to be you. But So she quit pretty soon after, and she was also brand new. So she didn't know what she was doing. So we were both new, and we didn't really know what we were doing. And so I actually did not sign my first customer or my first distributor for over 3.5 months into the business. So yeah, so it's kind of crazy because people will always say things, you know, like I went ambassador in 30 seconds, and I'm like, well, that wasn't me, you know. So I actually really love it though, because we know that sometimes we have people, right, exactly. Good thing I didn't give up. We have people sometimes that they come in and they take off, and we have people sometimes that don't take off. But it's just because I always say, like, it hasn't clicked yet. Because whenever I talk to one of my distributors and like they just have this like epiphany, and I'm like, see, it clicked. Like I told you it would. It might be an event. It might be a Zoom. It might be something. It might be a life event, but it will click at some point if you don't quit. That's literally all it is. It just hasn't clicked yet, and I can't explain when it will or how it will, but it will. And so then I started moving, and I found a runner, I guess you could say, and she helped me get to diamond. And I always say that because we know we can't do this business alone. So I went diamond about 10 months into the business, and then I actually dropped down to emerald, and I just had a new baby, so I was super distracted, which is zero excuse ever, because I just had my third baby, and I'm working harder now than I was, you know, a few months ago. So sorry. So anyways, so we didn't have the money to go to conference. I live in Vegas, and so I was like, I am not buying a $300 or $400 plane ticket. I'm not buying this $250 ticket. Like, I'm an emerald right now. Like, we just barely started making good money. Like, I'm not going to spend it on flying to Florida with my newborn. So for months I said no. My daughter was born in September. I was like, I'm not going. People kept saying, go, go, go. And I was like, oh, and I could not shake the feeling. I was just like, I have to go. Like, this is what I always say. If somebody is at where you want to be at, you just have to listen to what they say to do. That's it. And you will get there. So for me, I was like, frick. And I told my husband, I was like, I just feel like I need to go. And he's amazing, and he's super supportive. So he's like, okay, go. So I bought my conference ticket and my plane ticket in December, and that was like 3 weeks before the conference. And I drove from Utah to Vegas, dropped off my 4-month-old or my 3-month-old, and I went. And it was an expense, way more expensive than if I would have planned it, but it literally changed everything. That was my it moment. Like, conference, I don't know how to explain it, but you guys, you have to go there with an open mind and an open heart, because people will tell you it will change your business, and you might go there and be like, okay, and then you might leave and be like, what just happened? But the biggest thing is that when you go there, you have to talk to people. You have to just soak it in. I remember, and I never really say this, but this is a huge deal. When I went to my first conference and my second conference and any events I ever go to, sometimes you'll have people and they'll be like, we're going to leave early for lunch, or they're talking, or they're working on their phones because they feel like, well, they're working, so it's okay. You guys, you have to be that person that sits there and is just 100% drawn in. Like, that's how it changes you. And I keep like not forgetting to tell people about that, because I see people and then you're just like, you paid a lot of money to get here. Like, what are you doing? So when you guys go to any event, you have to be that person that is just like, yes. Like, you're so in tune to it, because that's when you leave and you explode. And that is what happened to me. And at that first conference, I met so many people that they told me why they needed this business. And I was just like, holy crap, like, this is not about me anymore. Like, we were just kind of coasting, and I'm like, these people like can't even like feed their kids, and they're here. Like, what am I doing? So I went home and I just friggin' messaged the world. I literally messaged every single friend I had on Facebook. I just started building those conversations and those friendships. So that is how I build my business. I know we say do parties a lot, and I try to do them. I do. And sometimes like they're super successful and sometimes they're not. And so that's why I think it's important to do all aspects of the business and find your niche. But for me, I've always been able to build those relationships online. Some people I feel like can't, but I build them online and then I take them offline. So, you know, I might, like tomorrow I'm talking with one of my newer girls on the phone to kind of game plan with her because I can tell she's not really understanding how things go. So basically what I do, you guys, this business, it's honestly really simple. Like it doesn't take a genius. It's so simple. So this is kind of like what I do. So I will add somebody. I will start to interact with them. I will find some way that I can, you know, make them remember me. So instead of just being like, this is so cute, like all the 50 other people, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Where did you get your daughter's car seat or whatever? And then you start kind of an actual conversation. So I try to really build those relationships kind of through comments, and then I'll take it to a message, and then, you know, just have small talk, and then I just offer them the business. You guys, like, this is what I've been telling my team a lot lately too, because I think people forget that it really is as simple as just saying, hey, I think you would be amazing at the business I do. Have you heard of it, or have you ever thought about giving it a try? I think you'd be good. And then I give them usually like 1 or 2 reasons specific to them so that they know it's not like a copy and paste. That's all I do. That's what got me to ambassador. 100%. That's all. It's not awkward because they're only feeling awkward if you're feeling awkward. That's what it is. So I can't remember if Pam said this or who it was or where I was at, but they said, well, you know, when you go to like the gynecologist, I know it's kind of random, but when you go to the gynecologist, if they're awkward, you feel awkward. But when they're just like doing their thing, like you're like, oh, okay, like you're not awkward, I'm not awkward. So it's the same way. Like, but also I'm not just going and copying and pasting a message to a bunch of random people, because that is awkward because you don't know them and they don't know you. I don't have like a specific timeline that I use, but what I do is I just make sure that when I feel like they actually have like liked or commented back on my stuff, that's when I feel like I'm ready to message them like the business. So even if it's just like a cute picture of my kids, like, oh, look how cute they are today. If they like or comment on it, I know they've seen my posts. I know they know I've been watching them because I've been commenting on theirs, and that's like, okay, go. And I always say, don't wait too long, because the average person honestly doesn't sign to like 9 to 12 follow-ups. So when you're messaging somebody and you're like, I just messaged 10 people, and then you're like sad because you're like, and 10 people just said no. 9 out of 10 of those are gonna eventually become a distributor if you keep it up. It really is. Like, it really is. So I asked them the same. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of like responding to the questions on here, but it's the same. My first like offering message is always the same. I like to do it on voice message. I'll just be like, hey, Amy, like, I hope your day's going really well. So, you know, since the last time we talked, I think you'd be really freaking good at the business I do. And you're just super cute. And I think that we would have so much fun together because you have such a fun personality and we would work really well together. Have you ever thought about the business that I do? And that's like all I say. But I like to do voice message because then I can be like me, you know? Because if I'm like, hey girl, you look so cute today, like, they're going to be like, oh, whatever. So when I do voice message, yeah, it's genuine because they're like, you didn't copy and paste that. Like, you're literally talking straight to me. So it's more personal. So that's, you guys, that's how I sign my distributors. Like, it's not brain science, but it's work. You have to be disciplined to do it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When they hear the craziness, sometimes when it's too crazy and it's distracting me, I'll like leave the room, but they can still hear it. And I have that actually going on right now too. So, you guys, like, I'm not like this super professional businesswoman. Like, I I don't have like the perfect pictures. Like I really try to make them nice and beautiful and crispy, you know, but I'm not the perfect businesswoman. And I think that's okay. That's okay to show people, because if you guys look at Jade or Ashley or me, our Facebooks, our posts, they're all different, and it's important to just be you. So yeah, that's a really good tip too, you know, because I feel like Instagram is a little bit less personal, and so I also try to get them through text or on Facebook right away, because then they can see my lives and all that stuff. So anyways, so after my first conference, everything changed. I was like, I'm in this, I'm in it forever, I'm so excited. So I went double, and you guys, one of my double checks was like $8,000. Like it was awesome. Like I was like, this is legit. So, and then I went triple the next year after conference. So not everybody, even when it clicked, it doesn't always happen for everybody, because some people get an Ashley right away that just is like, boom, like they take off. But some people like me, I feel like I kind of had to do all the work at first, and then I have my runners now. So it honestly, it clicked for me after conference. That's really when it did. So, but also, like, don't think that you can't click at any time. Like this Zoom right now, you could be like, it clicked, I'm running, you know? So then the next year I went triple. And then last year I went presidential and ambassador. And, you know, each year I created some leaders. And then each year, some people that I thought were going to be with me forever were not with me forever. And that was kind of disappointing. And even when I have new people quit right now, sometimes you want it for them so much that it literally hurts you, but you can't pull people. Unfortunately, you just can't. And so you will get left behind. If you do not tell somebody you want this and show your upline that you want this, you will get left behind. Because, like, for example, I didn't really have an upline showing me anything, but I was on that team page, and so I kind of like watched and paid attention. And I kind of started doing stuff as, you know, I would read posts and things like that. But nobody was waiting for me. They weren't like, hey, Christy, are you ready? And unfortunately, I do that to some of my people, you know, but that's a blessing. That's a blessing that somebody cares enough about you to not leave you behind and be like, hey, come on, let's go. But eventually, like, you can't pull your team and people can't pull you. And so you have to just decide 100% if it's going to be you running or somebody else. Like that's just what it comes down to. Like I always tell people, in January, February, this month, there's going to be people promoting. There's going to be people promoting on my team, on Ashley's team. You just have to decide, like, are you going to be that person? It's not the company. It's not the products. Everything's great. Somebody is going to promote, but is it going to be you? Because you are the only difference in the work. That's it. So, you know, for especially too, like if you guys have, like sometimes I'll have people that they've signed up their first 3 distributors, and then the first 3 distributors quit, and they're like, well, this freaking sucks. And I'm like, it does suck, but I don't have the same people that took me to ambassador that I even had on my double chart, okay, which was 2 or 3 years ago, you know, and it makes me kind of sad, because I'm like, they could have been here, like they could have been with me, but they're not, and they made that choice themselves. And so you kind of just have to let go of the people that don't want it, because and Pam always says this too, which I love, like, you can't find your husband until you break up with your boyfriend. You cannot find your rock star and your runner until you break up with the person who doesn't actually want this. Because I'm watching these 10 people that don't actually want it, and I'm like, come on, let's go. Like your kids, like, come on, get out of the car, like, hurry up, let's go. And then you have that one person that you are not following up with, or you forgot about, or you actually just never offered the business to because you were so distracted with these other boyfriends that you had, and you couldn't find your husband. Like that's just what it is. And so, especially now in December, things are going to change. Things have changed. I know for me, like, we had a really good year, but my September was way lower than my November, you know, like it just was. I don't know why, it just was. And in the next few weeks, like we are about to explode. And so I'm just telling my team, like, listen, if you want to be a part of it, you're going to have to tell me now and start working for it now, because the seeds that you plant now are going to explode in the next few weeks and the next few months. But if you let, you know, having a slow month or whatever you want to call it, like I don't believe in slow months, you guys. I have signed one distributor this month. Okay. One distributor. That's not really my norm. Like my norm is like 10 to 15 to 20. Like that's my norm. And so, you know, for me to sign one this month, you might think I would be like, well, damn it, I suck, you know, like, like most people would be like, well, this, you know, what am I doing wrong? Is it this? Is it that? Like I suck. But I don't believe that, because I know that I'm still planting seeds. I'm still offering the business. I'm still doing everything I need to do. And so I know that just those people that I've talked to right now aren't ready yet. So I need to go find new people. So my one distributor doesn't discourage me, because when you get discouraged, it changes your feelings, and your feelings is what changes your results. It's not really what you're doing. It's how you're feeling. Like if I'm like feeling like when I message Ashley, like I really don't want to freaking be doing this right now, Ashley's going to feel that. Like she's going to feel that. And so, you know, you just kind of have to put on your happy face, go offer people the business, and everything will fall into place. And when I was on a, sorry, I look at the time. I'll be fast. So, we went to Surf and Turf, which was the most amazing experience of our lives. And then Pam had us on a call afterwards, and she gave me a compliment that I will forever remember. And she said, you're so young, but you just get it. And she said that you don't worry, like you don't stress, you don't worry, you just go, like you don't get distracted by numbers or this or that. And that's the truth. Like everything will work out, you guys. And I pray about my business every single night. I pray about who I should talk to on my team, but more importantly, who I need to reach out to new. Who needs this business? Who needs me? Who do I need? And I pray about that every single night. And so I have an unshaken faith that it's all going to work out. And it always does. It always does. When I've had maybe some person that I thought was going to do amazing quit, and I maybe even just help them a little bit, I'm like, well, they just weren't meant to be here. And it will always work out, you guys. And that's what you just have to remember, that, you know, for me, it took me 3.5 years to get to ambassador, which honestly is not that long. But in the beginning, you might have thought it would have taken me 10 years to get to ambassador, you know, like no customers, no distributors for 3 months. Like you'd be like, she's a dud, you know, but nobody is ever truly a dud until they cancel, you know, like that's, I was just kind of there watching. And so you might have people in your business right now that are going to explode, but I will say this, nobody will explode without you being that example. Like the months that I'm exploding, my business is exploding because my team is exploding because they're watching me. And sometimes you have to be that faith for them. Yeah, you have to be your own rock star. I always tell people, like, what do you want to see in a distributor? Now go be that, because if you're not that, you're not going to find that. You attract what you are. It's just so true. So I know I got the little notification that the call is about to start, but you won't find anybody that isn't, you know, as good as you. And then eventually you'll build leaders that are better than you, which is the goal. Don't ever get down if somebody on your team has more enrollments than you or is even promoting past you. Like that's a really good thing. Like that's really freaking awesome. But anyway, so I could go all day.
I love all of that. One thing that I think is so, like, I love the fact that you didn't really step into the business for 3 months and then it took, 10 months. I love that you weren't somebody that went diamond overnight. People have a hard time relating to Barb Hauser going diamond in 8 days. Like that just seems it's just seems crazy. And so I think one of the biggest things you said, and that, was a realization for me in the beginning of my business, was that, people are like, well, I can't present the business. I don't have a story. What if they ask me if I made any money? You guys, you have tons of stories to share, but people, I will tell you, and Christy would probably say the same thing as an ambassador, sometimes I feel this business is harder once you get past like double diamond, because the money seems unrealistic. It seems so outlandish and crazy that people don't relate to that. People relate to $500 a month. People relate to your struggles more than they relate to your success. So, that's one thing that, you've got to think about. Like right now is Christmas time. People are, we looked like we had a white picket fence, but we were struggling so bad. And, Christy's talking about the fact that they were on food stamps and WIC and, different things. Like, you guys, there's people on your social media that are literally drowning, not only financially, but emotionally. And you have the ability to change their life. And that was something, once I realized that I could change somebody's life by opening my mouth, then it made me realize, like, I'm being selfish by not offering it to them. Like, how dare me take an opportunity away from somebody because I think they don't need it? Like, why do I get to make that choice whether or not they need it? So I love the fact that you talked about that, you finally realized, like, I do have a story. People can relate to the fact that, we're on food stamps and welfare, and people relate to struggling to buy diapers. Diapers are expensive. Gas is expensive. Talk about when you fill your tank up because you sold a wrap. Like, you guys, that's what people relate to. People don't relate to, I've earned $340,000 in good books. That sounds retarded. So,
Well, and
go ahead.
Just to add to that, because I know sometimes people are like, well, I've never struggled. So I have one of my girls, really quick. She is amazing. She was selling timeshares, and she was making like 10 to 15 grand a month already. And, I just told her, but the thing is that you don't have, how long are you working? And she's like, well, I'm working like 15 hours a day. And I'm like, okay, so like, that's not a life that you can keep up. Like, you can't work that forever. You'll never be able to enjoy it. And she was like, no, I love it. Well, 6 months later, she was like totally burnt out. And because I had reiterated and planted that seed, she was like, okay, like I need to do this business. And she came to a 1-2 mission, and she exploded. And it's my girl, Eliana. She's one of my presidentials. But it's just so funny because in the beginning, all she wanted to do was sell individual wraps. And then she started making a lot of money with this other thing, with her selling the timeshares. But there's going to be different things that people connect to of your story in different times of your life. So sometimes I do make posts about making a lot of money because some people do make a lot of money. And they're like, why do I need your, can't buy diapers, business? Right. Well, the thing is that there's people out there that they don't have any time because they're working their lives away. And even if you're not making that, you can share someone's story that has. So I like to mix it up because you are right. Majority of people cannot fathom it, but you might find that one runner from talking about that, So I always just mix it up. Like I'll have potentials message me all the time. They're like, okay, I'm ready. Like, and I always like to ask, like, okay, what makes you ready now? And they'll be like, that last post. Like, I actually had one of my distributors tag me in one of her dream boards one time. And one of my potentials was like, I really want that thing that's on her dream board. So I'm ready. And I'm like, that's all it took? Like a dream board picture? So it's kind of funny. Yeah, and not even me. I was like, okay.
That's awesome. I love it. I appreciate you so much. I'm super excited to see you at conference.
I know. We're going to have a blast.
We're almost there, you guys. It's going to be crazy. So let's hop off. Well, you guys, my team, we're going to stay on here if you want and listen to the corporate call. But Christy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and I'll talk to your team tomorrow night.
Okay. See you later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop the recording.